The lease abstraction process is as follows. Once the user receives the lease document, they open a program called JD Edwards, log in, and begin the lease abstraction process. This process involves the business user reading through the entire 69-page document and extracting relevant data that they would need to enter that information into JD Edwards. That information is around the tenant, the building, recurring billing, security deposit, log details, and legal clauses. This process is relatively extensive and can take over an hour and a half to complete. The business user completes this process at least once a day for a number of leases. Using RPA, we can speed up this process drastically. The approach is as follows. It involves two workflows. First, an unattended workflow, where an unattended robot leverages ABI FlexiCapture intelligent OCR technology to digitize the PDF lease document, extract the relevant data, and output that data into an Excel document for the attended robot to use. Once the data is in Excel format, the business user can work with a robotic virtual assistant to essentially enter that lease data into JD Edwards a lot faster than the business user would be able to enter it by themselves. In order to build our unattended robotic workflow to extract data from the PDF document, we first have to create a template in ABI Flexi Layout Studio. The way this works is that we first upload our test document to ABI Flexi Layout Studio. As you can see on the right-hand side, we have this document. The next step is, once the document's been uploaded, is to define elements and labels for those elements that we want to extract. As you can see, I want to pull the landlord name. In this event, this name is going to be called 3 Hughes Landing LLC, and it's associated with the keyword landlord. So first, my element that I'm going to create is a static text element called landlord, where I'm going to be searching for the word landlord in quotations. The second thing I'm going to do is define a character string, in this case a landlord name, because this is the element that I want returned and extracted by my unattended robot. This string has a relation to the landlord keyword that I previously defined and found within my document. And regardless of where landlord falls on the page, it's going to search for a character string right above the word landlord, and that's essentially what this template is. Now, once I've defined all the elements I want to extract, I define those elements as blocks. And these blocks are exactly what is being passed to the robot itself. You can see as I scroll down this list, we have over 20 different elements being extracted from this PDF document and handed over to our unattended robot. Once we've created a definition document in ABI FlexiCapture Layout Studio, we can then use UiPath to process the document. The processing of the document is quite simple and only involves 3 steps. The first is our process document intelligent OCR custom activity, which takes 2 inputs, the definition document template that was created and the actual document you want to process itself. Once the document has been processed, which takes on average from 2.5 minutes to 5 minutes for a document of this size, the business user can get a confidence level. And based on that confidence level, they can choose to validate the document further. Once the document has been validated, it's then exported in .csv or .xlsx format into Excel. In Excel, you can see all the data that has been exported from the PDF document itself. On the first row, we have the names of the elements that have been extracted. And on the second row, you can see the elements themselves. For tables, each table is actually exported into a separate document itself. The unattended workflow with Abby FlexiCapture can run overnight, and the business user can come in the morning to a completed Excel file. Once they've validated that Excel file, they can go ahead and run the attended workflow to run a robot as a virtual assistant to help them enter the lease information into JD Edwards. The workflow involves opening the application, getting the variables from the Excel file, and then creating a tenant, creating the lease with the building, going through the recurring billing module, the security deposit module, the log details module, and the legal clauses module. The robot opens Internet Explorer to the JD Edwards page and logs in as the business user. The bot then navigates to the tenant page where the tenant is searched. The user now assists in virtual assistant mode and types in the tenant name and is prompted for a match. If the tenant exists, then they can enter the tenant ID and the bot takes back over, entering the necessary info into the tenant form. Whenever additional validation is needed, the bot prompts the user, and the user can analyze the text from the lease document and enter the relevant info. At the point of building, another search is requested, and the user can search the necessary field to find an applicable business unit already in JD Edwards. The robot now requests that the user chooses the correct business unit and hit OK. The robot checks that the unit from the lease exists in that business unit before proceeding, and then creates the lease. Navigating to the lease ID requires another user prompt, and then the robot moves on to recurring billing. The robot prompts the user for the number of rental periods and asks if each rental period is uniform. In this case, they are all uniform of 12 months period, and the bot can navigate through the entire table and enter all that information quickly. A quick user validation shows that the start date needed to be updated from what was in the document, and the recurring billing module is completed. The robot then moves on to the security deposit module, prompting the user to read a large security deposit paragraph to assess a critical date and an explanation. Once the user enters the critical date and explanation into JDE, they can hit OK and return the process back to the robot virtual assistant. The robot then proceeds to log details and prompts the user with the tenant improvements paragraph and asks if there are any tenant allowances. In this case, there are none, so the user enters not applicable. The robot then proceeds to update the media object text and then moves on to the next log details. Outside broker is updated, free rent is updated, lease buyout, so on and so forth. In some aspects, information is needed to be grabbed from Salesforce. In this case, the robot can automatically log into Salesforce and grab the necessary information. During the POC, only about 5 log details were finalized. However, the remaining 12 will be completed in a similar manner. Moving on to the legal clauses module, we see the robot interact with the business user in a similar method. Certain key phrases are searched within the PDF document, and if not found, not applicable is entered into the media object viewer for those legal clauses. Where paragraphs are found based on keywords, the user is prompted with the paragraph on one side and an input text box on the other side. This manner assists the business user to quickly complete and read through the PDF document, find the necessary info, and then enter that into JD Edwards. This overall moves an hour-and-a-half process to being completed in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes.